Okay, so this is literally like take 7 because my iCloud storage hates me. So these are my note cards because I haven't felt the greatest the past few days. So I still had not had time to go into town and get index cards, which I left at school. So this is what I'm working with, but it's okay. Here's the last one with all my notes on it. Alright, and this is where I'm doing my speech with my little audience. Setting it up there. Now, the first few times I tried to record this, it stopped at 2 minutes, so hopefully it doesn't do that this time. Each semester, we add new classes to our busy schedules. With the new classes come new teachers and new professors, and a big stack of syllabi that includes our course outlines, rules, and the dreading requirement we all hate purchasing every semester, textbooks. Now, over the past 10 years, inflation has nearly resulted in the average cost of textbooks to quadruple, resulting in nearly 65% of students to skip out on purchasing the required texts due to simply not being able to afford them. That information comes from CBS News in an article titled What's Behind the Soaring Costs of College Textbooks, published in 2018 and written by Krista Kristoff, a freelance journalist for CBS News. Additionally, with the cost of textbooks being so high, often at times it's a waste of students' time, money, and even resources to even purchase them. At the beginning of the semester, I personally purchased 7 required textbooks for my courses here at Ball State University. At this point in the semester, it has about a week left, and out of those 7 required texts, I have used 2 on a daily or weekly basis. 3 of those I have never even touched, have not opened them, or ever needed them for the class, and 2 of them I have only used like once or twice. Realizing that I've wasted my own financial income, as well as pages among pages of paper resources, today I'm going to introduce to you an online alternative I believe all schools and universities should incorporate to student curriculums and how it can save students time and money each year on textbook costs. Now we will examine the costs, the effects it has on you, your time, resources, and your education. First, I'm going to tell you a little bit about the textbook requirements and how prices have rose over the years. Now, textbooks are required in almost all classes at universities across the nation, as well as in primary and secondary education. Now, as stated by Krista Kristoff in the previous source, materials that a student needs to participate in a class are increasingly put behind a paywall. And it's true, they are. But why is this? Stated by an article from Business Insider in 2018 by publishers Gina Echevarria and Jordan Bowman, almost 80% of the textbook industry is dominated by 5 major publishers, which include Pearson McGraw-Hill, which we both use here at Ball State University. Each year, they do everything in their power to keep their textbooks high or at a high cost by creating newer editions, which prevents students from purchasing lower cost used options because not all of the information is there anymore, or they're off by chapters. Also stated by Echevarria and Bowman in the previous source, it's not unreasonable for students to spend nearly $500 or more a year on book fees because of the rise in costs. They also mentioned that just from 2008 to 2018, over a span of 10 years, there was a 67% rise in book fees, which is resulting in a major strain on students' college expenses. Now that I've introduced you the textbook costs and requirements students have for classrooms and courses, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the effects surrounding the use of these paper resources. And the first effect is your time. Each semester, I'm sure you spend a decent amount of time researching what books you need, what website or bookstore has them the cheapest, because we're always trying to save a penny, and adding them to your cart or going out and buying them. And really, is it just a waste of your time? Secondly, are the paper resources. Now, in a reference handbook titled Recycling in America, published in 1997 by Deborah Strong, an environmental writer and consultant, she noted that at least 2 billion books a year are published each year in just the United States. Now, in the long run, think about how many trees had to be cut down for that annual result. A lot, right? Now, with ebook and a digital library alternative, trees in our environments could be saved immensely. Now, third and final is the most important effect it has on you, and it's your students' learning. With the increased amount of digital technology over the past 30 years, students have adapted to the use of digital learning, which includes tablets, computers, headphones, printers, PowerPoints, stuff like that helps them learn and compile things digitally. Now, in an article from the Washington Post titled Why Textbooks Don't Work in Her Schools, written in 2012 by Jay Matthews, he points out that textbooks just simply don't work well anymore. He even mentioned that research proved that they did not increase student achievement anymore unless educators knew exactly what worked and what didn't, and he stated that most of them didn't. Now that we understand these requirements, costs, and the effects it has on you, I'm going to introduce you an alternative for schools and universities to adapt to, due to the amount of digital learning throughout our country. Now, because textbooks are so vastly expensive and perhaps not frequently used, an alternative for students should be offered by education systems to benefit the well-being of you or your student. For example, according to the CBS News article mentioned above by Krista Kristoff, a number of schools are adopting a method of textbooks usage called Open Education Resources, or abbreviated OER. It allows the cost of educational materials to be reduced dramatically. It allows any student to be able to access it on any digital platform. And lastly, it saves students from purchasing entire textbooks when they may only need a handful of pages, or maybe to just use it a handful of times. An example of college using this method is Greenfield Community College, located in Massachusetts. They use this open access in half of their general education courses, and it allowed the students to spend an average of $31 per course compared to the national average of $153 per course. And Christoph mentioned this in our CBS News article. This online data bank could work much like library research databases like we have here at Ball State University, allowing students to simply search a class, a section, a teacher, and click right on the textbook that they need to find an answer, finish a project, or study for a test. Now, I'm sure a lot of people also experience the same problem. Textbooks are very costly and maybe not widely used. Now, when examining this data and preparing my speech, I wanted to talk to a few of my close friends and see if they were having the same problems here at Ball State University with their courses and the textbooks that were simply required in the outline. Now, I spoke to 5 people, and out of those 5 people, 0 of them said that they used all of their books that they had to purchase or were said that they had to purchase by their teacher that were either brand new or used. And what's that really say? They lost money. Now, finally, to finish things up, textbooks are something that are used all across the country in and out of schools. Being a student myself, these costs have personally affected me, especially being in the middle of a global pandemic. Costs are rising and people are losing jobs, so people really don't have that much income as they did maybe before. Hopefully, after today, you have seen why I'm trying to show people that there can be a lower cost alternative for education requirements, and education should not have to be more expensive than it already is. Therefore, I hope by examining the costs, the effects it has on you, your time, paper resources, and education, you too can advocate for change in and out of universities and schools. Thank you.